All right. It is 3 o'clock in Denmark at least. So happy afternoon to those of you who are in the same hemisphere as us. Good morning or good evening to the rest of you, I'm guessing. I am Ida, and I'm going to be your host for the next hour, looking into the game event about corporate DE&I, looking into the topics of gender and gender inequality in the office setting. And for today's event, I've brought with me our global or head of global, Isabella, our fantastic leading lady of sales. Do you want to say hi, or was
Hi,
it
everyone.
sufficient enough?
Yeah, hi, everyone. Thank you, Eden. Lovely to be here.
Great. And then we have our superstar live, our founder and CEO, who is without a doubt the biggest AXI expert we have. Welcome live, and thank you for joining. Great. So today we're going to look into the corporate D&I event. But first, I'm just gonna quickly do a little introduction to what we're gonna do today. So first, we're gonna do a quick briefing about ACTI for those of you who don't know us. Then we're gonna take a look at the game before you actually get to playing it, just so that you have an idea about the story, how the game board works, uh, special focus areas, and the theories that and the takeaways that you can kind of dig into during the game. Then you're gonna be let off the leash and just play the game, and we're gonna follow you on the screen here. First we're gonna do a little bit of facilitation view, but then we're also gonna have Isabella and Life compete with you guys and see if what choices they make, see if they can beat you. Um, and then we're going to look into the data that you guys are generating through playing the games. And then we're going to look into a little bit more about what other things we can do at Acti or the games that we have that could support this. And then we're going to open it up for some Q&A. But that being said, we have a chat going. So please, if you have any comments or any questions, please go ahead and message in there, and we will see if we can get to it. All right, well, without further ado, I think we should just kind of get going.
Yeah.
So, woohoo! So, what is Acti? For those of you who don't know us, welcome. It's about time. We have been here for 20 years already and are doing actually over 150 games and simulations right now. Think we are making a lot of games, so I don't even know if 150 is the right number to say we're over anymore. But we're doing games and simulations for organizational development and learning courses and so on. And we have over 50 theories and methodologies already integrated in the ACT platform. So if you wanted to make your own game with a certain theory that's already there, it basically could not be easier. Um, and then we have over 2,500 certified activists worldwide. It's both consultants and it's our partners that are bringing out the greatness of Acti all around the world, actually. Um, so that's who we are in brief terms. And when you are playing Acti, I think the most important thing to kind of talk about is how you're actually going to play it. Because there are two main ways of doing it, and it is either online or it's physical. And I really like the model that's a mix and match. So you do different sessions, different modules in different ways. And then some of the additional activities that you maybe do physically can then reinforce the learnings you've done online or vice versa. There are many ways of doing it, but I think we should dig a little bit more into that after you guys have played the game. We're going to be playing it online, of course, so that you guys can play on at home, and we're going to send out a link when we're ready for you guys to start. All right. So the game that you guys are here to play today is about the gender equality at the office. So it's a game where you are actually in the role of a leader, and you have to then use your leadership skills to kind of track and manage where you are on the D&I agenda. So if I remember correctly, I think in the beginning of the game, it is that you have done absolutely nothing in this organization to either track or develop your DE&I. So you're kind of starting off completely fresh with, okay, figure out how much DE&I is needed. Easy task, right? So that is sort of how we start this game. And the game is built up around three key metrics, which is the Daniel Goldman's leadership style, Rick Mauer's resistance movements, and the EU's gender equality index. But I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into these three elements in just a moment. So when you get to playing the game, it's on this board that we call the cycle of change, or just the cycle board. And it works that there are like 24 playing fields, and you start, of course, by number one. And you have this little blue arrow you can see here. That is your boat, that is your mission or your goal. So the goal is to kind of get your boat all the way around the finish line. So when you reach this space, number 24, you have officially completed your mission. If only it was moving your mission, then that would be easy enough, right? Just moving it around in a circle. However, you also would like for your team to be a part of this process. You would like for your team to be on board the project, really supporting what you're doing. So you see all of these little dots here, that's your team. And they can be in different levels of resistance to your project and cause different amount of problems depending on how against you that they are. But we're going to look more into that when I get to the theory layer of Rick Mauer's resistance. Um, what else do you need to know? You need to know that by clicking continue, that will kind of make you proceed in the game. It's very user friendly that way. I think no matter where you are in the game, there will be a green button to help you along to the next step. Okay, so that's the game board that you are going to be presented with in a few moments. While you're playing, there are certain things that you should keep top of mind. So as I mentioned, by playing this, you are actually working a lot with your leadership strategies in these gender-related issues. So you're creating a lot of awareness, both as a leader, but also as an employee, on what are some of the issues that we're maybe not even noticing because that's just been our everyday. Um, it's of course creating awareness on the main problems that we see, but also on some of the more invisible issues that are out there that we're maybe not really addressing. So yeah, learning about D&I both theoretically and in practice, how you can actually use ACTI to address these issues. And of course, there are a lot of different skills that you are touching base with when you're playing this game. So there's leadership, change management, communication, but there's also so many more, like managing work conflicts, dealing with compliance, work-life balance, and etc., as you will see when you get in there. Just quickly to mention these three theories or these three metrics that the game is built upon is the Daniel Goldman's leadership styles. So there are 6 leadership styles, and you will see that in each question or in each chapter, you will have 6 options. So each leadership style will link to one option, and that's a way of tracking your leadership skills. So that's one thing you can keep top of mind while playing. Another thing is that when you, of course, make these decisions, you are going to have your stakeholders here on the board reacting in all kinds of ways to the decision you made. Of course, it's different stakeholders. They all have different opinions to what you do. And that means that they can move in the resistance levels out here as mentioned. So the resistance levels by Rick Mauer goes from, I don't get it, which is like, I don't understand why we have to do this, to the I don't like it. It's more of an emotional response. It's a little bit like what's happening, a little bit scared maybe of the changes happening, and the most critical resistance level, which is like I don't like you, which is a more matter of trust level between you as the leader and your employees or your team. So you would preferably like not to have people out in the I don't like you stage, but that's not always possible. So keep that in mind. And finally, the last layer of this game before you guys get to it is the Gender Equality Index. So there are these 6 variables that the European Union feels that we should keep top of mind when we're dealing with DEI and especially gender equality. And just to give you guys a quick example, because it can get a little bit complicated, so let's stay on the top level here. So the thing is that if you are working in an organization, and of course you're focusing on you want to close the wage gap between men and female employees, that's great. That's the one of the things, one of the indexes here is money. But you also have to keep in mind that there are actually also the rest of these 5 other metrics you have to keep in mind in order to make any real elevation of your DEI agenda. So try to see if you can figure out when playing the game how you navigate in all of these 6 different ones. Okay, I think I've talked more than enough now. Isabella and Life, are you ready to compete? Are you ready for some serious game time?
So ready. So ready.
I'm
All
so
right.
ready. I'm in for a win.
Ooh, great, guys. Then I think we should ask Muhammad, who is sat on our tech just on the other side of my wall here, to send out the link in the chat, please.
Please.
All right. And Isabella and Live, of course, I think you already have received the link, so please get yourself ready to battle.
For sure. Where is live? There we are.
Okay, I'm just gonna, while you guys get set up, I'm gonna move over into the host view so that I can start tracking who is where.
All right.
Are you in?
I'm on my way.
All right. Well, while you guys are just finding your way, I'm gonna lead up to asking you guys about your first choice. So, as
Mhm.
mentioned in this game, you are a manager and you have been given the task to identify what is your D&I status or what is your level of equality in the office.
Mhm.
And that, to be honest, if someone asked me to do that, I would have absolutely no idea where to start. Do you talk to people or what do you do? I wouldn't know. But in the game, there are 6 different chapter options or answer options. Have you guys already made a choice?
Not quite yet.
All right. Give you a couple more minutes. See if I can find the. Here we go.
Mhm. Mm.
I think it's actually quite difficult. I find it, I need to read. I just need to read a little bit.
Of course, take your time.
Since you did this game, it's difficult now when you didn't have hands on, and I'm really keen on doing my utmost here. Okay, I've
It would
chosen
be
my. I've
it would
done
be
my.
very embarrassing life if you came out with the lowest points.
Yeah, exactly. Why am I not on your list? Can you just update
I will
maybe?
update. Here we go.
There it. There we
Life.
go. Yeah.
You are this
All
acid
right.
green color.
Yeah, of course. Like my
Okay.
And
background. I'm.
Isabella is here.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And
Okay.
Syra, welcome.
Oh, did you? You made some choices, Isabella. I can see.
I made one choice.
Yeah.
Only I'm
So
just
did
counting
I.
this. Great.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I will take a look here at number 1, chapter 1. If I just remove everybody that are not the two of you, just to make it easy.
I see Dipsy is actually high up there.
Maddie. Here we go. So now we have Life and Maddie. Isabella is secret alias name is going to be Maddie for the day, apparently. And you both made one choice, right? Only.
Yeah.
And I can see there's a pretty big
Wow.
difference in your scores. So
Wow, wow,
Isabella,
wow.
do you want to start? What did you choose?
Nice.
I wanted to do something a little bit differently. I chose choice number 1, open up to me. But then after reading the feedback, I can see that people think it's a little bit too soon and maybe like right a little bit too early up in their face, kind of.
Okay, so it's too much too soon?
Too much too soon, yes. Too much too soon.
Good to know. What did you find out, Live?
I took the classic leader thing. I took myself an example. I took leader's lead to give the courage to open up to the agenda, but I see it didn't get that many points. Maybe it was my acid green background.
It's influencing you negatively.
Not that good. I only got 28 points. Did you really get 112 points in the first chapter? That's amazing.
No. I only got 6. So your choice was actually the right.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, I misunderstood it that way too. I was also amazed.
No, I logged in
Oh,
with my real name now.
Okay,
Yep. So my choice was not
here we
good.
go.
I think I was a little bit too fast there. Yours was right, Life.
all right. Oh, okay, so and can you say once again what you did, Isabella?
I took choice number 1, which was, let me just review last choice here.
It was the open up to me,
Yeah, so I
right?
was thinking, maybe individual talks would be a good idea just to explain myself on why all of a sudden this topic is important for the organization and my team. But then I realized after reading the feedback that it was maybe a little too offensive to bring everyone in on a one-on-one, like as if they did something wrong or, you
Mm.
know. So I think I should have also went by yours life or even have decided
Mm.
on maybe.
I was thinking the reason why I took that choice was because I think this agenda is such a political agenda that you actually need to make sure that you can feel safe about bringing the agenda into the dialogues within the office. So I thought it must have high level buy-in, so nobody gets concerned. That was my rationale. So I don't remember whether you can get what's the maximum point, but that was and it's also to make sure that basically to make people feel safe. That was my idea, and I didn't know what was a good choice. I just went with my stomach, to be honest.
Mm.
Yeah, I also don't remember what is actually the best choice in this particular chapter, but I think I'm really connecting to the Lencioni event of last week, where if you had the pyramid of making a functional team, the first thing you should do is be vulnerable with them, like share your own experiences, so that they can start trusting you. So of course, I'm also in that. I'm feeling that would be the right choice too. So I'm
Yeah.
with you, Live.
But
Yeah,
that's
good.
I
also
would.
what I actually thought when I was like, okay, if I sit down on our one-to-one, I can be vulnerable in that one-to-one. But then I was a little bit too off there because it was also connected to power, and I can totally see why. Usually, when you then invite into a one-to-one as a leader or as a manager, usually that creates some sort of people can feel a little like, afraid or like, have I done something wrong here?
Yeah.
Because you as a manager or leader have that upper hand.
Yeah. So there could also be a power play from as a leader. You go into this agenda and how can we trust that you actually have good intentions, generally speaking, as a power thing within organizations. Yeah, I totally agree. There
Yeah.
can be that at play. Maybe if there's any comments from anyone who's playing with us, maybe they can add it into the chat while we move on.
Great
So
idea.
yeah. So if there is
Keep
any,
an eye on the chat here.
yeah, good,
Can we move on, Ida?
Yes, please do. Please move on to the second.
great.
So the second question is about Daniel, whose wife has received a promotion, and he would like to ask for the possibility of receiving a more flexible work schedule in order to kind of make the work-life balance on both parts a little easier. Meaning that he would then be going against this traditional norm, right, of the mother or the wife taking the majority of the work at home, and the man, providing for the family, being in the office. So this is then the opposite situation happening, which is not very odd in our time right now. So asking for more flexibility as a man to support your wife's career. Um, how have you guys started addressing this issue, Isabella? I see you've already made a choice.
I have not made a choice yet.
Oh, sorry, no, you're waiting. And life is
I
also
know.
still on it.
Yeah, I'm thinking. It's like it's also, but I'm kind of trying to think, what would I do if there was no gender involved? Does it matter whether it's a female or a male here? I would probably act the same way.
And if you're not relating to any of the choice options, life, what would you do? You are a boss. You must have
I would,
have an instinct.
I would, without a doubt, encourage the person to do so, and then it would be a practical matter for me. It would be like it could be a practical salary matter. It can be a practical task related matter, but it would be a practical matter that needs to be solved within the team. So, and maybe even the person who has that wish for a work-life balance probably already has some ideas, because it's the person's job or the person's task that is at play here.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just took a choice.
Yeah.
I took. Did you take a choice yet, Life? Otherwise, I don't
No.
want to.
Chapter 2.
Yeah, I'll probably go with chapter 2. Yeah. All
Option
right,
2.
nice choice.
What did you take, Life?
Choice 2.
Oh, you took choice 2.
Which
Yeah, what did you
is
take?
I took choice 6. What was
Okay.
number 2?
Maybe you need to update. Number 2 is addressing the issue head on. In this choice, you are focusing on spreading awareness on how flexible work schedules are not equivalent to less work, nor that that is gender-based working style. This choice is a gender-orientated and consider the gender equality index work. Addressing the topic in plenum allows you to gain a deeper understanding of why flexible hours should be an issue. Oh, okay. I think I would not, and potentially stop the misconceptions of flexible work being perceived as less work. Yeah, I actually totally agree with that. It follows the democratic leadership styles, and it's supposedly not creating any resistance, is it? I want to see the results here. No, it actually reduces resistance. I have no resistance on my screen now. So I think what I did was I was actually trying to say it doesn't mean that's what I meant before by being practical.
Yeah.
It's a practical thing, and you are of course supposed to be accounted for in the team. In my mind, you are not
Mm-hmm.
being put on the side track. Your results matters. Your team effort matters. Your being at work matters.
Definitely.
I took. I thought it was actually quite difficult again, and I really had to read it through. But I decided on supporting Daniel's decision and give him the trust that he is doing the right thing, not having to comment on it around any practical reasoning but simply say I trust. Or that was my thought process, but trusting
Mm-hmm.
that okay, he has a plan, or he's aware that that needs to happen, so that will happen, and then we will, with time, figure out how the practical elements around it can look like, if it has an effect on the practical elements, because we don't know.
So
And
basically, giving
yeah,
him more authority in his own process, which
yeah,
also sounds like a good idea.
That is at least
um,
showing that you trust him, and what he's doing, and supports him exactly.
Yeah.
So I know we only played 2 chapters so far, but what do you guys think would be some of the key takeaways you could have from a discussion from one of these 2 chapters? Do you have any ideas?
For sure. I think just by, I mean, I must admit I've been doing I've been playing it a couple of times, but I've not been playing it in the way that we are playing it now. I've actually not looked that deeply into the 2 chapters or any of the options that we have been looking at now. And I even think that some of it is, I guessed in some of the points, I could have spent another 10 minutes on each chapter to read more firmly into it before making my decision, to be honest. But it also opens up. I haven't thought about it in this way before. It's not been a dilemma we have been faced at Acti. It's not so, or to my sense, Isabella, what do you think?
no, I actually think it. I agree with you. Before going into this, I didn't really spend the same amount of time, and Ida and I, previous to this, also looked into the metrics behind it, the leadership styles, the resistance, the gender index, and how both of them are working together. And I can actually see that it can generate some really good discussions around how leaders approach, for instance, topics as hybrid working or flexible work hours, or now we haven't played the other chapters, but also equal pay, or knowledge, and so on. Um, in a different way, and the fact that we can learn from each other, we can have conversations and discussions around our approach to it. I think it's great for also like understanding who we are as leaders, but who our peers are, who are our employees and our colleagues that we are working with, and how can we support that in the organization. So it can impact in many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're also saying, which I think I totally agree with, is that the fact that you play a game where you are put in not only your own position or your own thinking, but is forced to think about what does it mean to be Daniel in this situation. Who he's actually saying, I'm struggling a little bit with my status in the organization, which would be Rick Mauer's level 2 resistance. I have a problem here. I might be faced with, and it's not my problem. It's actually a systemic problem. It's a job related problem that we should be taking into consideration as a workplace,
Mm.
which
And
I
then I
think is.
also, yeah, go for it. Like, sorry.
No, I was just about to say, yeah, that's another point of discussing it in this way. Not only you and me, but also reading about the choices and so on. I totally see that now. I didn't think of it before, but I totally see that now. That it's a perspective shift from not only how do I experience gender inequality or gender equality, but how does other colleagues experience it, which is as important. Yeah, I get that.
And then I also, one thing that I noticed, that we did quite fast, and maybe I did it just in here in my mind, and you did it actually out loud, live, was immediately you were comparing to us here at Acti. And it happens, I think, because this subject right now is such an important subject, and also because it's something which is so close to how we work, and how we also perceive ourselves. I mean, this is a subject where you're thinking, I do not want to stand out here. Like, I want to do my best because it's such an important topic. Um, so it was great for also looking into, this is a simulation, but right away we actually compared to our current situation at our office, which was also
Mm.
a little interesting.
I think that
I
deserves
yeah,
because that's when we
we're ready.
transfer the knowledge, right? It's when
Yeah,
we put it into our own settings.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. When it goes from a game into what we think, but I also, to me, there's a only we've been playing 2 chapters, which is nothing. But when I look at the screen on my screen, now people can't see, but I'm the yellow there. I can see faces of the people that I'm supposed to lead through this game. So I could also click on Daniel and I could have a look at who he was. I did not have time to do that right now, but I would be able to dig into him, and that also opens up another detail level of such a game if I wanted to, and have a look at how people are actually thinking, whether they are feedback. Yeah, can you click on one of them from there? I
Yes.
can't
So
remember.
here's one I made earlier.
Hmm.
You
Oh.
probably have to go into the host view, Ida.
Ah,
But I actually clicked on Mo because I can see that I have Mo really far behind, right?
Hmm. If you click one
And
off, either Isabella or me
oh,
off at this
sure.
picture,
This way.
yeah,
Here we go.
yeah.
So if I click on Daniel here, we
yeah,
have
so
Sorry,
Daniel
Isabella, I
is
was
not sure if
interrupting.
he'd handle it.
Yeah.
yeah, but for me, so I read through Daniel earlier when I also played the game through, and I was like, okay, who is Daniel? He's a programmer, has children, doesn't feel comfortable with the office teasing, but since no one else seems to mind, he just keeps to himself and tries to avoid being indulged in the discussions. For me, that was a way of explaining that he might be a little introverted. So if I, as a leader, am to give him some trust on maybe his trust in himself and his actions and the way he is in the team and in the workplace increases, and that will help him in the longer run. um, yeah, and then I was reading into Mo as well, because when I made the decision just before on just trusting him or what it was, I
Hmm.
totally lost Mo. um,
He is
but
he's way back here.
he's way
Mo
back, right?
Mo is back there, and there's something with the picture on your Mac, but Mo is there on the right hand side. Yeah, he's way back in resistant level, but not on my
Yeah.
screen. I got him with me. He's on level 5 and inside. I think that's also what I was thinking. Maybe there's also a difference between when we look at a person. I think if you go, you're at chapter 2, you still have Mo way behind on
Yeah.
yours. But I have Mo there. It's just behind the boat, 2 steps
Yeah.
behind. This is Mo on mine.
Mm.
So maybe there's also a difference in how we should think about our choices depending on the resistance levels from Rigmar. Where are they? What are they actually calling for? But I didn't actually take that into consideration. But maybe your choice, Isabella, would have been greater if you had more people in further out in resistance level, where you take the personal approach to Daniel. I can't remember where he was in when you took the choice
I can't remember either.
in chapter 1. Can you click on chapter 1,
Chapter
Ida? We
1.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All
You've got
right. Yeah.
Mo right at the back.
Yeah. And Daniel was also at that position when we made choice number 2, right?
But then I read about the characteristics of Mo, and I'm like, okay, he's been there for a really long time. He's in his mid 50s. He has a more traditional view on how you can be a career person or a family person, and such things as flexible or part-time work is a sign of being much less invested
Hmm.
in work and doing the bare minimum. That was the characteristic. So maybe I thought he was more. He was not in the mindset I wanted to bring to the table as the leader that I wanted to be. So right away, I also looked at myself
Mm.
when I read through his persona and said, okay, I'm actually not even sure that I can kind of align with what he is saying here.
But then like that's really interesting, because what does that then mean? Like you have a team and everybody's going to react different to the choice you make.
Mm.
So how do you make, like how do you choose which decision you take? Do you
Mm.
choose it out of the stakeholders and what's in their best interest, or do you work for the mission, or how, like is it a balance thing?
Isabella, do you want to go first?
I think it was my gut feeling and how I perceived the current situation, the dilemma, and what I trust myself in as a person. So I at that time actually didn't read about the different stakeholders. I was just like, okay, what do I think, or how do I feel right now? Not so much on the stakeholders. And then after making the decision, and I can see the impact that it had on the stakeholders moving on the board, I started reading about the personas, and I could now see, okay, that actually kind of makes sense to how I felt or wanted it to be.
Mm.
Does
All
that make
right.
sense? Yeah.
I think the discussions we had after making the choices would probably have influenced me how I would change or how I made the choices. But I was also making them out of gut feeling. I didn't really have enough time or headspace to think about either the gender inequality or the resistant levels or the Goldman's emotional intelligence. But I think if I had more time, I would probably have forced myself to think about what is this choice actually representing? What is it trying to do here? What area is it working on? But that would have taken more time to me because I'm not a great reader. But I think I would have forced myself to that point, but I didn't for those two options that we made.
No,
But
so
it
of
makes
course
me
you.
interested in going back and playing it, to be honest. I like to see how I would come out if I played it through.
Yeah, I guess I really want that to be some kind of like a way you can hack this. Like there's one correct way to do it, and you get
Mm.
everybody in the boat and everybody around the board, and everything is just, lining up perfectly. But I guess that's the frustrating thing about the real world is that things don't just line up because you will them to. And that's what makes the simulation such a great talking off point, because I think for at least one of the chapters in this game, you're probably going to have a completely different decision you want to take than the answers that you have there. So that's, of course, another great way to kind of get the discussion out of the game and into the setting that you are in as the player in your organization or in your school or wherever you are playing this game.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I also think there's a huge difference of us being here and making our own choices, and then imagining that we played it in the multiplayer version or team challenge version, where we had to agree. So Isabella and I would need to agree on what should we implement here. That would for sure force us to be more considering or spend more time on understanding each of the choices, because we had to argue for what we would proceed with in the game. I also think that makes a huge difference, like the learning model of how it's designed to play in right now. We have made it a very simple where we make our own choices, we discuss, but
Yeah.
and I can for sure see some of my some people that I have in my network that I would disagree with in most cases, but then again, there's also a huge amount of respect towards other ideas on how workplaces should be designed. So
But do you think that this game is actually would it be beneficial to play this game as a team, because you would have sort of an extra layer of discussions before making a decision? Or do you think that would actually be a larger cause of internal conflicts, because then you are sort of
mm,
in a smaller group, and if you disagree, then maybe only a few people, and the manager, the facilitator of the game is maybe talking to another group, and like, would that actually be able to backfire, I guess, is my question.
That's a great question, Ida. Yeah, that's a great question. It
Because
could
I know
backfire.
it's a sensitive subject, right? Like,
It is.
people have their opinions, and it's not very many who enjoy being proven wrong or told that they are not quite living in the time, or they should get a little more vogue, or all of these things.
I guess it also depends on how it would have been facilitated then. So if the facilitator facilitates this in a team setting, it might not be, let's say, 5 different people who do not know each other that plays, but maybe a group of like a team that actually knows each other that plays this game. And are comfortable with each other. But of course, you can't always make sure that can happen. So that's a great question, Ida. That's a great question.
I think so too. I think it probably requires, but maybe not. I mean, when I look at the game, it's not like it's not provoking, or it's not like having a political agenda or anything like that. It's just because the subject is very political. I mean, but the actual game, I think, handles like common issues within a workplace, within a team, that you are likely to meet or likely to have met at some point. And it's also likely to put pressure on a team when you have somebody who wants to step into a more less work role, or have a more flexible working hours. Or I think it's actually quite it's things worth discussing regardless of how you perceive D&I within the workplace. So I think the maturity level of an organization doesn't need to be at any specific point. It just needs to be, of course, putting it to the agenda can be sensitive, especially in for the time being. But the actual things that are is in my sense common issues that you need to discuss within a team, that you are faced with within the team.
I agree, but I do think we could have there could be some quite like political discussions that will arise, or some might sit back and not actually speak their mind or their truth, because that the conversation can become difficult. But I think if you bring that in as a part of the exercise, then this is great for that, because the situations are something that we've seen before in any organization.
And I also think I think so, and I also think that even if you disagree in teams, which I think most teams will have disagreement on a topic like these, in all of the chapters, actually, I think the disagreement is also worth discussing and allowing it to be there, or maybe even training an organization or a team to have that in mind, that you can disagree and it's actually okay to disagree. We just have to agree on how to solve the practical issues that comes out of people's reactions or people's wishes for a great. And boiling it down, I mean, what does it all relate to in my mind as a business owner? To me, it's relating to people's thriving and well-being at work. We're not machines. Nobody is a machine, and that's what it all boils down to, in my mind. So regardless of the political agenda, to me, it's a matter of people feeling greeted at work, and being agreeing on how to solve that, if people have special needs for special work hours and so on, is necessary, unless you want to kick people out. And
But I guess that's also very much from a business owner perspective, right, Leif? Because I'm thinking from an employee perspective, or a manager or someone on the floor in an organization, they might have a different perspective. So I also see it as an awareness or knowledge perspective, that not only does, let's imagine that this was a business owner who wants to bring this in as part of training a group of employees in a company, which is how it happens today. Then it creates awareness and knowledge, but it perhaps also can create some sort of push to the employees, having to work in a certain way. Or should I now be afraid that I ask for a pay raise a little bit too early compared to something else? Or like, yeah, different discussions depending on the different levels. But you can, I mean, and that sums up to, you can actually bring this in with different levels in organization. It doesn't have to be leaders or managers or business owners and so on.
No, that's a very valid point, Isabella. We've had the students playing it, so people taking their bachelor's or their master's, and we have all the way up to executive VPs. So it's valid throughout the spectrum.
Yeah, it does. For this specific game, there's not. You don't need to be. And I think for most of our games, it's just you have if you're not used to using games, which I think our podcasts and all the material we point out to, is that if you're familiarizing yourself with using games within your organization development, it actually it's much more dynamically going into different groups or different parts of the organization. It doesn't have to be exactly what that specific group of people is working with. The reflections can be opened up to a much wider extent of people who are in the room, and this also applies to this game, that you can play it in a lot of settings if you want to discuss how do we handle practical problems and practical wishes and issues in the space of thriving and DNI.
So that
Yeah,
food for thought, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
definitely. And I think, as you said, just to sort of make a nice, neat ribbon on that, Isabella, that it was really a nice takeaway from this is that the game, like it's on a topic that, as Life has mentioned, is very political, and it's actually also something that's really sensitive. People are actually afraid of saying how they feel about this topic because they're afraid, what if it's the wrong opinion? What if it's not correct? What if it's not woke? What if it's, and so on. But this game actually gives you these dilemmas that are not real, that you can talk about in a safe space, and you have different options. You could not have chosen 18 other options than the ones you were presented. You had to relate to the ones that were presented in front of you. So even if your opinion was, I hate this, fire the person, like you're not going to
Yeah.
have that option, so you're not going to say something stupid like that because you have to relate what's in the game. So I would just like to say that you're right, Isabella, this does create a common language, actually removes some of the fear about the subject, that you can kind of relate it to a fictional issue instead of having to deal with, okay, my colleague that I sit next to did this, how do I react? Like that's dangerous and close to you, right? So
And
I
you
think
can
it's
learn a little bit about each other. I think that's also quite important here. What are my colleagues' way of thinking? How do they think? How do my boss think? Or I think that's really important as well. To actually move away from having your own thoughts and then actually learning something about what your colleagues are thinking about the subject or the matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just moved into my profile because I was interested in seeing my profile. Did you have a look at yours?
Mine is here.
Yeah, yours are here. Yeah.
And I wanted to say that there is this really cool skill list that's been added since I was last at Acti, and I think that's awesome. So you can actually get an overview of all of the different elements you're touching upon throughout a game like this. So it's not just working on equality, you are actually working a lot on communication and leadership and work environment and culture. It's not just, oh, this is the one thing you did today.
Yeah.
What's your score, Life?
It's if you scroll a little bit down, I'm kind of
Sorry,
you all know me that it's you scroll too far down if you go a little up.
Just
There,
quickly
a
go by it,
little,
Ian,
yeah,
because
exactly. There you go. Because you know how awful I
competitive.
am when I'm winning. I'm much better at winning than losing. So I'm just
there
saying.
you go. This is for
Yeah,
you, Life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's going to be a long afternoon, Isabella. I'm just
Super
saying.
long.
I hope that you don't have to stay at the office for too long after this event, Ice.
Exactly. But if you scroll down a little bit, if
Yeah,
you go further down, I know to the theories
yeah,
there. Uh,
yes.
I think I really enjoy these. They're so awesome, and I also really enjoy both Rick Mauer's resistant, that I can actually see that how much I reduced or created, and how I compare to others, which is I think is cool.
Yeah,
And
so you
getting
are the full block, and then the see-through block is sort of the average of every other player, right?
Yeah, and that depends on whether you're looking at the session. You can both measure against session or everybody else who played the game. So
Yeah,
But
so this is, oh, that's just me, and this
yeah,
is,
there should
and
actually be a button there, but if you could, all time, if you stop
oh,
there,
here,
yeah,
all
exactly.
time right here. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And
Oh,
then you can
Leif,
see.
you're not the winner then.
I'm so sorry. Wasn't Sarah part of the game? I think she commented earlier, didn't she, saying hello from India?
I think that was a Saira, but
Okay,
I'm only glancing quickly here at the
okay.
comments.
Yeah, that was Sarah. Yeah. Okay, but really cool.
Yeah, so you get you can also check
Mm-hmm.
so the Daniel Goleman's leadership styles, where have you been focusing? And I'm assuming in this one, if you want to do well, you kind of touch base on all of the leadership styles, right?
Exactly.
Not
Yeah.
just one throughout.
No,
And then we
Ida, you've been very mono. You are only having commanding,
Very mono.
very mono.
visionary, and you should be a little more digging out in your outskirts of your opinions if you want to do good with Goldman.
Yeah, I need to work on that.
Yeah. Maybe we should take
Oh,
some of the skills off for you.
I need to make a plan. Next time I
Yeah.
play this game, I have a very
Oh,
different spider chart.
yeah, exactly.
Just finally, the European gender equality overview here. So he's just the aim of the game in this area is to touch all of them. And it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 colors present, so that's one that I
Oh,
completely
Eddie.
missed.
Oh,
Yeah. I only
And
have
I can
4.
see that it's money, but money is of course also not so important, right?
Exactly. But I left out power
Ah,
and health. So,
yeah,
but I'm very
it's
good on
balanced.
time. So
Good,
super awesome.
good life.
Yeah. Mm.
So I just wanted to quickly actually move back to my PowerPoint here to show a few of the other subjects that we touch. So now we've of course been in a gender game or a D&I game, and we could have used a lot of different Acti tools to kind of reinforce this. Like we have a quiz that you can play to kind of set the scene, or you could have made a quiz to kind of touch upon some of the discussion topics you had after playing the game. And of course, as I also mentioned earlier, you can mix and match that with your physical or online sessions. And it works really well. I hear from both Isabella and Live that we have some really awesome facilitators out there who are really good at combining these methods. Um, but I also wanted to just say that just because you say I'm having a DE&I event, it's not saying that you're only touching upon DE&I, as you saw in the long skills section underneath your game. So it was just to say that just because you're doing a D&I session, you could actually use many of our other games as reinforcement as well, because there are many theories that are sort of kind of going into all of the games or some of the games. You can really dig into certain areas of this without only using that one game. And I think Isabella, you have a lot of people doing this, right? Like mixing and matching,
yeah.
and you
I
see
have,
that work out.
yeah, and it works out really well. Both adding in, creating their own small courses or learning journeys, adding in a quick game on change, and then having a facilitated session on, for instance, the gender inequality game, and then wrapping it up with a video or a quiz or something like that. That has definitely become more popular, and it's a great way to enforce the learning, and invite to discussions actually as well. So that's a very good way of doing it.
Mm. Covering a lot of bases,
Yeah.
actually.
Hmm.
Yeah. Have you experienced uh, that as well, Life, or have you actually experienced that people would prefer just to stick to one topic and then this is what we focus on, or what are your insights?
I think the pains is much more like a choosing segmentation when you're building a program. A consultant is very often faced with it's a program about change. It's a program about a merchant acquisition, and we have two different cultures coming together, and we know that the gender is an issue. So it's more like a filter thing in the design of the program, and then the game should be covering maybe one the most important topic and maybe another theme further down that allows to discuss something. But it's always here it comes into play. When you design the program, you need to find a game that is one on length, so it's the right time to play, and theme have to match, and maybe in the reverse order. So theme and time, how much time can we spend on this in the program? That's much more. But some of these games, and especially this game, is brilliant for just sending out.
Yeah.
And playing it. It's also brilliant for facilitating. Like I realized that also in our session here, that there are so many things you can discuss on top of this game, which is really cool. But it can also be a game that you actually send out, play, and then maybe a recap or maybe a quiz afterwards. Or so.
Yeah, it can stand on its own.
It can stand on. It's not too long. It will take anyone 10 to 15 minutes to play by yourself if you're just getting and if you leave with some knowledge out of those 10 15 minutes, it's really great, because then you leave with an idea about, oh, okay, so I should be aware of X, Z, and Y. And that's actually what you can expect from playing a game or from anything, any video that you send out. I mean, there are no tricks to make people learn anything. It's just a stupid idea we have in learning that, oh, we just send them something and then everybody's getting so clever. No, actually they're not. They're getting clever by talking like we are, and reflecting and discussing dilemmas and digging into problems, and that's when you get clever. That's what's needed. But if you just want them to be brushed up, a game is enough, and it's a fun way of gaining that. But it doesn't make people astronauts.
No, not quite.
No, not quite.
I think we are going to open up now for you guys to ask your questions. If you have any, please knock yourself out. And while you guys are typing, I'm just gonna get us started, because I'm actually a little bit curious. Has anyone customized this game for themselves? Like, has it been used and changed into a specific company or organization's wishes?
I
can't. Do you know, Isabella? I can't remember.
I actually can't remember either. No, I don't think it has been customized. No,
I'm
I
also
don't think
really
it has.
putting you on the spot here. Sorry.
No, but we.
Yeah.
Sorry, Isabella, go on.
No, but it's actually a very important question, and also good that we came around it, because it is very much possible to actually just go in and create the content or add your own framework, or that's the entire idea behind Acti. But we haven't had that happen yet, not with this specific game, at least. A lot of other games, but not this one.
Yeah, because a lot of other games, they are very happy to be customized.
Indeed, they are.
But I think it also, this game is right now also suffering from another agenda coming in. But I was just curious to see. Let me see if I can find it. But it's for sure. It's for sure a game that is super easy to customize. I wish we could show it, but it's super easy, and it should be customized, because it's actually more than DNI, if you ask me. It has some really great team issues to discuss within a team, I think.
Conflict handling also.
Conflict handling, yeah. No, it's actually been played about 1,000 times. So it's out of the 150, it's ranking 22. So it's the 22nd most used game. So it's getting up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's getting placed on the agenda out in the world. It's good to hear.
Yeah, and there's also a facilitation guide I can see. So there is a lot of great backing material. Did you make that, Ida?
And again, I did. For those of you who do not know Acti, we actually create this for most of our games. I think there's only a few that don't have. It's a facilitation guide.
Yeah, nice.
And it has an overview of all of the questions, all of the answers, how will your stakeholders move in each answer? What are some of the questions you can ask to this dilemma or to this chapter? What are some takeaways you should focus on, and so on. So it's actually, you don't even have to know anything about the theories and so on if you don't care. Like, you actually can facilitate something really, really well just following a facilitation guide.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
saying that you should
so
just
good.
not care, but it is super easy
Yeah.
when you have the facilitation guide to kind of jump off.
Mm,
I agree.
Yeah.
good.
All right. I think we are actually out of time.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for playing with me today and showing the gender game. I hope that
Just
you will leave now, Isabella, so that you do not have to deal with life's winning feeling.
I have to deal with that every day.
yeah. Yes. Actually, yes.
Well, it was great to have you, and you guys can come back next week where we're having our next game event. I'm pretty sure it is the one about the cantina going green, so staying in the sustainability sphere. But you can keep updated on LinkedIn, and you can also on LinkedIn go to the event, and you can find this recording if you want to look at it.
Yes.
And then remember that we have this great green sticker that's behind Life that he's really excited about, which is called Act Now or Swim Later. So basically, what we want to finish off here is that if you don't focus on sustainability, then we are all going to be swimming because we are over. Is that what you wanted me to say, Live?
No.
Act now or swim
Yeah,
later.
not
I
you.
just think it's cool.
It's
Bye, boat.
perfect.
All
See you.
right. Thank you, guys. Have a great